The $5 million price tag on the American dream. The American dream was once about opportunity, home ownership, and security. Today, new research from Investopia shows that achieving that dream carries a lifetime price tag of roughly $5 million. That includes raising children, buying homes and cars, healthcare, retirement, vacation, pets, and even wedding. Retirement is the biggest single cost, requiring about $1.6 million. But according to Ambassador Wealth Management's Philip Batten, quote, almost half of Americans don't have any retirement savings at all. The average nest egg is just $134,000, nowhere close to what's recommended. And here's the hard truth. Only about 1 to 2% of American households will ever accumulate $5 million in net worth. Now, that's different from lifetime earnings. That's a higher bar. That's fewer than 2.5 million households out of 130 million households. For everyone else, the math just doesn't add up. Still, surveys show that most people cling to home ownership, vacations, and even pet ownership as essential parts of the dream. As Batten puts it, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Today, reaching even part of that dream requires second jobs, side hustles, or redefining success altogether. Okay, so what's the real message here? For so many people across the United States, the ultimate American dream, doing better than their parents, having the home, vacations, a good standard of life, education for their kids, a comfortable retirement, is slipping away. And this is a huge problem, and Democrats and Republicans both deserve some blame on this. It is becoming increasingly difficult to really feel like you have it all. But a part of it is people's expectations have gone way up too. In 1970, the average house size was about 1,400 feet. Now it's double that. So a part of it needs to be, we need more economic opportunity in our economy, but a part of it is people need to realize not everyone needs to be able to vacation in Europe every year in order to feel like they've made it. Let's dig a little bit deeper here and look at some of the facts of the case. So the price tag here, and it gets headlines, and I guess I'm guilty of falling for the headline clickbait too. $5 million sounds like an astronomical amount of money, and indeed, it is more money. It's certainly more money than most Americans are worth. It's more money than most people make in a lifetime. Now, according to Investopia, and they have a bias, they want people to invest. I'm not saying that's bad. They're claiming that you really need $1.6 million in retirement savings in order to get about $63,000 a year for 20 years of retirement. That to me sounds pretty reasonable. It is a little bit scary when half of Americans have no retirement savings at all. Truth be told, until I was, 45, I didn't have any. You can start at any time. It's never too late to start. The best time to start saving for retirement is when you're 18. The second best time to start for retirement is today, regardless of your age. And I'm here to tell you, you can catch up and then some if you make it a priority. Home ownership, according to this survey, is $957,000 in lifetime costs. I mean, that actually seems pretty low to me, depending on where you live. Their estimated cost for college for 2 kids, $876,000. You could spend a lot more than that. You could spend a lot less. I mean, let's not forget, most Americans do not go to Harvard and pay the full fee. Most people in America go to non-selective state schools where tuition is still relatively low. Yes, there are cost of living expense, but you don't have to spend nearly $1 million to educate your kids. But that is one area where there's increasing stress because, as you've heard me talk about before, when I was a kid, I mean, my 2 sisters went to very respected, great state institutions, and the tuition couldn't have been more than about $2,000 a year. I did go to a private school, was a lot more expensive, but I only had $10,000 of debt when I graduated. So that is a legitimate area of real stress for people. The cost of education, the cost of housing. And then healthcare. The estimates from Investopia is that you're going to spend $414,000 on healthcare throughout a lifetime to have sort of an upper middle class life. So those 3 areas are frankly 3 areas where government has a huge, huge role in establishing the marketplace, establishing pricing, and establishing what people pay. And this is where To go back to our previous segment, when you look at the so-called horrible, evil socialist economies like in Scandinavia and Northern Europe, their governments really subsidize and reduce costs, even factoring in taxation, to make those things much less expensive, much more affordable for people. Now, according to this research, people spend $180,000 on vacations in a lifetime, which to me, that sounds low once you get, a little bit fancy. 85% of Americans still say homeownership is central to the dream. Here's the real message I have for you. If you want to be happy and successful, you're going to have to disregard stories like this. You don't have to have $5 million to be happy. You could make $900,000 in a lifetime, and you personally could be happy if you decide to be happy and appreciate what you have. You could easily make $50 million and be extraordinarily unhappy your whole life because you're going to be comparing yourself to someone who made 100 million or 200 million. You can be worth $1 billion and compare yourself to someone who has $2 billion and they've got the 500-foot yacht and you only have the 350-foot yacht. And now you look poor compared to them. So much of wealth and affluence is a relative thing for human beings. And it's a sad, but I think realistic reading of human nature is so many of us would much rather make $50,000 a year if everyone we knew and everyone in our community made $30,000 than to make $1 million a year and everyone we know in our community makes $1.3 million a year. Wealth is very much a relative thing. So you've got to decide, how much money do you need to live life on your terms? I find, frankly, the more money I have, the more I realize it's the things that don't cost money that I enjoy the most, that give me the most joy. I enjoy spending time with my family. I enjoy spending time playing pickleball on public courts quite often. I enjoy walking in nature. These things don't cost anything. And you could certainly sit back and say, well, TJ, easy for you to say, you got everything you need. You got every luxury you could want. That is true, but it's also because I decide what I want based on me, not how do I play the expectations game? Because I could easily get overextended. I could say, gosh, several of my friends have $1 million boats. I need a $1.2 million boat. Instead, I say, hey, sure, I'd love to go boating with you when you invite me on your boat. I don't want a boat. To me, that's a luxury, not having a boat. I could buy a new car every single year and rack up more debt, reduce my amount of retirement and savings and portfolio. If I bought, 2 new cars every year, I got a nice car. And one of them is quite old. My family and I, we have 2 cars. One of them is 1.5 years old. One of them is about 14 years old. I love both cars. I don't have to have a new car every year in order to feel like I've made it. So that's my real message to you. And this goes back to ancient Stoic philosophy. Wealth is about being satisfied and happy with what you have. That doesn't mean low standards. That doesn't mean you have to live in the gutter and say, well, I'm in a homeless shelter. This is as good as it gets. That's not what I'm suggesting. But what I am suggesting is focus on things that actually give you joy. If you love being a school teacher and the maximum salary you ever make is $80,000 a year, and you love the extra time you have, vacation time you have compared to an investment banker, and you have enough money to house yourself, give yourself healthcare, to educate your kids, to buy the books that give you joy, to vacation perhaps 2 hours away from your home regularly at a beach, and you have a lot of friends and hobbies, you're actually much, much richer than a lot of people who spend all of their time chasing every dollar, working 120 hours a week, not even knowing their kids or their spouse, and go, making more money, make more money. And then, they wake up one day, their kids are gone, their spouse hates them or divorces them. They're sitting around in a big empty house, nothing to do, no friend. They're now retired or been kicked out of their investment firm. And now what do I do? I tell you what some of them do. They drink. Some I know have killed themselves. Sorry to sound that dark this early in the morning, but there are different types of wealth. Money is a particular type of wealth, and it is important to have some. Not having enough causes massive stress. I don't know that everyone has to have $5 million or feel like they didn't make it and they didn't enjoy the American dream.